To all who come to this happy podcast, welcome. This is Planning the Magic. I'm Jake.
And I'm Alma. In today's episode, we are going to be diving deep into planning a Disney World vacation. So stay tuned for that.
That's right. We're talking all things Walt Disney World today. And Disney World's a big topic. There's a lot to go over with Disney World. So we're going to get into all the things we can. Try to not overwhelm you, but there's a lot with Disney World. So we're just going to dive right in.
Yeah. How about we start off with your experience at Disney World? What's your favorite thing so far? Do you have a favorite place to stay? Like, how do you usually do your Disney World vacations?
Disney World for me, so, I'll be perfectly honest. I went several times as a kid because my grandparents lived in Florida, so we drive up to Disney World. And then I've only been once because I live in Seattle area, and it's a long flight to get down there. Expensive, and we're Disneyland people, just how it is. But I have been, I went earlier this year and loved it and stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which was an amazing hotel. Loved staying at that resort and had a fantastic time. So there's a lot. I still got to enjoy a lot. I spent way more time there than I probably should have because I went by myself. So my wife was not happy with me, but I had a great time, and there's a lot of fun to be had there.
We're also, Disneyland is our home park, but we have spent a lot more time at Disney World in past years since we moved to the East Coast. So we've been lucky enough to visit Disney World many, many times already. I do have some outlier sort of resorts that I prefer. Beach Club is one of them. Polynesian is another. Those are kind of my two favorite resorts so far. They're both deluxe resorts, I know. But they just hit that, they hit all the marks for me. Do you have a favorite park? I know you haven't visited Disney World too much lately, but do you have a favorite park or a favorite attraction?
I mean, it's hard to go wrong with Magic Kingdom, right? It's the classic. You got the castle, everything's there. But I really enjoyed Epcot too. I thought Epcot was a lot of fun. Especially you got the new Guardians ride there, Cosmic Rewind, and the Ratatouille ride was fantastic. I love that one.
Yeah, I agree. I also agree on the Guardians ride. I think we just did an episode for Disneyland, and I think both of us said that the Guardians ride there was our favorite. And it's funny that, we've moved on to Disney World, and both of our favorite rides are, we mentioned Guardians as well, but Cosmic Rewind is it's just such an incredible ride. I know some people have issues with motion sickness on that one.
Yeah.
I didn't bother me. It didn't bother my family. But did you feel that on there?
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. To me, it felt like Space Mountain, but with the ride car spinning while you're on Space Mountain. Is that a pretty good description for it?
That is, yeah. I've kind of mashed it up between Space Mountain, Rock and Roller Coaster. It's so smooth too, but it does spin.
Yep.
So I can see how how it would affect those sensitive to motion.
It's funny. I feel the motion. I won't say, anything more than that, but I feel the motion more on Star Tours and even Smuggler's Run than I do on something like Cosmic Rewind. But I can definitely see how people, just because it is spinning the car is spinning while you're going down the track, you can definitely see where that might be a little.
Yeah. I mean, Teacups gets me worse than Cosmic Rewind does. Especially if you're with somebody who loves to spin that.
If you're with a 9-year-old that just is obsessed with spinning the whole time. Yeah. Been there.
So what do you think you wish you knew before you had that first trip? What is something that you wish you would have known?
That's a great question. I actually tried to go into the trip kind of blind, so I could almost kind of learn those pitfalls and all the things that I wish I knew beforehand. And I think the biggest thing for me with just Disney World as a whole is is how to get around, how to, compared to, we were just talking about Disneyland on our last episode and comparing it to Disney World. And for Disney World compared to Disneyland, it's not just right across the plaza to get between the parks. There's a whole lot of other logistics that you really have to figure out ahead of time, or it helps if you figure out ahead of time, on just getting around, figuring out the transportation and how to kind of plan your day, especially if you're park hopping.
Yeah, I agree. Park hopping is a beast there as well. Disney World is huge, so I agree. When before we first went, I wish I would have known how to use the transportation more. I mean, you learn quickly.
Yep.
But also, we didn't know this at the time. In your My Disney Experience app, you can actually see like the transportation schedules under your resort information. So like knowing before you leave your room when the next bus is going to come before having to go to see, the indicators at the bus stop.
So just standing there waiting and
you
like,
can
oh, I
know
got
that in
20
advance.
minutes. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So
great tip.
that little thing that I didn't know in advance. So if you don't know that, you can look in your app to see when the bus is coming. So we touched on our favorite places to stay. Let's talk a little bit about the resorts and help the people decide on where is a good spot for them to stay. There's so many different options. I think there's about 29 resorts on property.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a ton of options, a ton of choices. I think the best place to start is going over the different categories, because there are so many. They have them broken down into different categories.
I agree. So we've got the value resorts, then we move on to moderate, and then we have deluxe resorts. So each different category, they're going to have different amenities available. And I think the sort of the slight and most obvious differences are going to be you're going to get a little better quality in, the room and your bed that you sleep in as you move up in categories. But there's also different little things that you may not notice or may not know before you're choosing your resort, that the differences between them. So some of the higher sort of notes of differences, the value resorts don't have water slides or hot tubs. So,
and after a long day in the park, sometimes you want to go sit in a hot tub. You need a day to relax, and that can be a big difference.
And if your kids really enjoy playing in the pool, and I know Jake and I discussed in our last episode, we like to take a midday break. If they want that water slide, you're not going to get that at the value resorts. The value resorts pools are decent, but it's just a pool. So that's just, if that's something that's important to you, something to consider.
The other thing too, I was just going to say real quick, is some of the value resorts too are almost kind of more of the classic motel style, where you're actually coming in from the outside as opposed to having like an interior hallway with, secured doors and stuff. And for a lot of people, that can be kind of a comfort level thing that they don't really like. So it's just kind of one of those good to know things, especially at like Pop Century. I know it's that way.
Yes. Yeah, they are all like that. However, some of these value resorts the rooms are more upgraded. So recently my husband stayed at All Star Sports, and the room is beautiful. Upgraded amenities, comfortable. Those resorts are decent. It just depends on what you're looking for. Another sort of difference you'll see there's going to be no sit down restaurant. You'll have the food court options, which is just fine. My probably go-to value resort would be Pop Century. And the reason for that is decent rooms, really good rooms, a good resort, and it's very close to the Skyliner. So you have the Skyliner hub access there.
Yeah, the Skyliner is a really nice way to get into at least Epcot and Hollywood Studios there. That's a great way to get into those parks. The other one I really liked was Art of Animation. I just love the theming, even just walking through the grounds there. Every section has its, Cars theme or Little Mermaid or Lion King. And it's a fun place to stay.
It is. I agree. Those value resorts are the most standout in theming. So
Yes.
if you're wanting those like oversized character photos, that's where you're gonna find those. So I know you probably see all those pictures everywhere. Those are the resorts you want to stay at if you want to be in that fully immersive, oversized character space.
Yep. Now, what about moderates? What if you had to pick one moderate? Where would you stay?
Caribbean Beach.
Caribbean. Okay, that's a
Yeah,
great one. I do
it's
like that one.
yeah. I love the vibe there. Obviously, it's Caribbean vibe. The pool is nice. They have a fun little like outdoor bar snack area, banana cabanas. It's
It's just
something
fun to
like
say.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, delicious rum drinks. It is also on the Skyliner line. It's like the main Skyliner hub there, so that's where you would have to get off and transfer over to either Hollywood Studios or Epcot if you were coming from like Pop Century, Art of Animation. I mean, we could go into deep about how transportation works, but
Probably
that's
make a
just
whole
kind of to
episode
give
on
you
that. Yeah.
a quick overview of like what happens at Caribbean Beach Resort. It is a really large resort though, so there's an internal bus system.
Yeah.
So if you're having a late night and it takes a while to get back to your room sometimes, depending on which route the bus takes in within the resort.
For me, for moderates, I would say Coronado Springs. I think it's almost a deluxe as far as how it feels and the way it looks, but you're getting it at a moderate price. So I think that's a really good kind of transitional hotel or resort to stay at.
I agree. Yeah, Coronado's really nice. Did you stay in like the casitas or the new tower?
The new tower I at least toured it. Yeah, it was really nice. We toured everything.
Yeah, and that's the only moderate resort that has a club level.
Right.
Is that I'm correct, right?
I believe so.
I was like, I feel like they have a club level there. The Grand Destino Tower is what they're there. So the only sort of transportation from Coronado is the bus. Did you find that difficult to navigate or?
No, I mean, once you get in there, get using it, it's not that hard to figure out. There's signs and like you said in the app too, it's pretty easy to figure out where to go. But yeah, but you do only have the bus, so that is definitely an option or consideration to think about.
Yeah. When I think of moderate resorts, yeah, they are the biggest, like property wise, biggest resorts. So they offer a lot of space. The amenities are just up a little bit further than you would with the value resorts, a little bit of a step up. They'll have a few pools because the resorts are so big that there'll be like a little pool at each sort of little section of rooms. And yeah, I think there is a small resort that a lot of people really like, which is Port Orleans French Quarter. And that's where you're going to find beignets too. So,
And that is a big consideration too. Where's the best beignets? Yeah.
It's a huge consideration because at Disneyland, we're used to getting beignets right in the park, and you don't have that at Disney World.
Clearly,
You got to
Disneyland's
go
better.
seek them. You have to go seek them out.
Yeah, the French Quarter, Port Orleans French Quarter is another great option.
Yeah, and the boat to Disney Springs is what I was going to say.
I loved
Quick
taking the
access.
boats. That was actually my favorite way to get around. You had the friendship boats from Epcot there that went down to Hollywood Studios and through Beach Club and Yacht Club and the boardwalk. And I thought that was just a fun way to get around. I really enjoyed that.
I agree. So, well, I guess we've talked about two categories already. We have one category. I guess, I don't know. I always toss this one. Is deluxe and deluxe villas, is it the same category or separate?
I mean, technically, I think when you're going through the Disney website, it's separate, but it's just the level of room you get within the resort, right? It's
Right. Well, let's keep it to deluxe. So
Just
we've got 3 categories.
overall
We got
deluxe.
value, moderate, and deluxe.
Yep.
So deluxe is gonna get you some cushier beds. Some of the rooms have balconies, which is, a new thing, not available in the lower categories. You're gonna get that hot tub, the pool with the water slide. You're gonna get a few table service dining options along with like the quick service options. So no like general food court. There'll be a quick service option and then some table service options as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great deluxe resorts. Like I said, I stayed at Animal Kingdom, which was really cool because you have the balconies that look out over the savannah. So there's, giraffes and zebras just walking right outside your room, which, where else are you going to find that without going to Africa? So I thought that was really cool. And then you have other
Yeah.
great ones like the Beach and Yacht Club that I think are fantastic properties, really close to kind of centrally located and have a lot of great amenities too.
Now, speaking of Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's a great resort. However, it's a little bit far out. If you didn't have a savannah view, would you want to stay there? Would you pay the money to stay there?
With a savannah view, no. Without a savannah view, definitely no. It did feel like a really long way away on the bus, especially like I said, coming from being a Disneyland person and then spending, it was 25, 30 minutes getting back on the bus every night. When you're tired, standing room only on the bus, it felt like a really long time. So
yeah,
it's
close to Animal Kingdom,
but even still, it's, 5 or 10 minute bus.
Yeah. And Animal Kingdom's not gonna be a park that you go to often.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you'll visit once or twice during your stay.
A couple half days is great there.
Yeah. Yeah. Animal Kingdom Lodge, I feel, is a bit far out, and when people want to stay there, it's usually for that experience. So if you're not in a Savannah view room, it's a high cost. Such a far.
So let's talk about it this way. If you're choosing a room or choosing a resort, what's the biggest consideration? Is it location to maybe the park you think you're going to spend the most time in? Is it, transportation options? What would you, for you at least, what's the biggest consideration when choosing a resort?
For me, it's definitely which parks I'm probably going to spend the most time in. So yeah, based on access to those parks and the transportation. So we just recently did a Christmas trip and we went for Festival of the Holidays in Epcot. So we knew that we wanted to do Epcot, and Hollywood Studios was high on our list. So we ended up staying at Beach Club. It's only a 5-minute walk from Beach Club to get to the World Showcase entrance at Epcot. So super quick, easy for a midday break. And then it's that same 5-minute walk to the Skyliner. So that can take you to Hollywood Studios, or you could take a boat. There's just so many options there. And then because it's so central, the distance on a bus to the other parks wasn't so bad.
Yep.
So that's kind of the decision making there. If we're like doing Magic Kingdom area, which we're planning for our August trip, we're staying at the Contemporary.
Ooh, you're going to Disney World in August?
Oof.
You're brave.
We are bound by, if you are a cheer family, we are bound by the cheer schedule.
Oh, okay.
And those kids cannot miss a day of cheer. So that is our time off that we have, and we are going mid-August. We are going to melt. But we're going to come prepared. But yeah, so we chose the Contemporary because it's close to Magic Kingdom, and everybody wants to do Tron. So that is the goal.
I did not get on that ride. I was so disappointed. It wasn't open yet when I was there they were having like the special access, but you couldn't get on unless you were invited. So disappointed. I want to get on.
You didn't get invited.
I didn't. I'm not that special, I guess. Yeah, well, I think, I feel like sometimes I focus a little too much on the transportation, but I think it really is a big consideration. when you're choosing a resort.
Yes, transportation and, in the vicinity of the park that you want to visit is usually my deciding feature for us. One thing to consider, if you're wanting to stay at a Skyliner resort, let's say, to have good access to Epcot and Hollywood Studios, the Skyliner, I wouldn't say is necessarily a reliable mode of transportation, especially during stormy weather. So as soon as there's lightning in the sky, the Skyliner goes down. So, then you got to switch over to a bus, and it really
Which in
can put a
summertime
hinder.
is, every day you get those lightning storms. So you got to watch
Yeah.
out for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So something to consider when you're thinking of where you're staying.
What about, I've been joking with you about going in August, but what do you think is the best time to go to Disney World?
Not August.
Not, yeah, not May through October.
Definitely not July. Okay, I'm speaking in weather terms.
Right.
July. The last time I went in July, it was surface of the sun hot. It, as soon as you opened your door to go outside in the morning, you felt it. Couldn't eat any snacks. Like, it was just way too much. And it was busy. So standing in long lines in the heat, it's just unpleasant. Unless you're prepared for it, of course, which obviously I'm planning a trip mid-August, so
Buying all the cooling towels and misting fans and yeah.
Cooling towels will be those cool people with the fans around our necks, and hopefully we, don't melt. But we're talking about good times to go. May and April, I would say, are pretty good.
Yeah, it seems like between the spring break crowd and before summer vacation starts really seems to be kind of that sweet spot. The weather's not too bad. The crowds are pretty light, all things considered. And it's, generally a great time to go.
I agree. And then once we move into like early September, so we work our way out of August, the weather starts to cool down a little bit. And it's pretty good for crowd wise.
Right. Once everyone goes back to school in the fall. And yeah.
And then we start to get into the holiday stuff. So Halloween events and decorations go up pretty much mid-August, I would say.
They're starting really early this year. I think it's like August 1st actually or something.
Yeah.
They really want to get as much out of that Halloween season as they can.
Yes, because as soon as November hits, we're switching to Christmas.
And I mentioned this in our Disneyland episode, but Christmas time at Disney parks is, I think, just the most magical time to go if you can make it that time of year. There's something about just seeing the castle, lit up and decorated for Christmas. And I think it's just a really great time to go if you can make it.
We went at Christmas time recently. We went for Epcot Festival, the International Festival of the Holidays. So we wanted to try a bunch of food there. But also Guardians Cosmic Rewind had a special overlay for Christmas. So they played like a Christmas tune. And that was the reasoning behind that last minute vacation for us. So
just to go to Guardians,
there's always
go ride Guardians.
Yeah, there's always something like special going on in addition to just like the holiday decorations and stuff. So
well, I feel like at this point Epcot now has pretty much a year-round, there's always some festival they have going on, whether it's the Food and Wine or the Flower and Garden Festival, or they always have something going on there.
Okay, so when would be your best time to visit then? Are you saying Christmas time?
Christmas time, I would love to go Christmas time. Again, ultimately, for those of us with kids, it comes down to school breaks. So you go when you can, really is the best time to go. But the ideal times, like we said, was that kind of late April through May, early May at least. School gets out pretty early down there. And then, Christmas time. And then January and February, generally pretty slow as well.
Yeah. Then we'll, January, February, you might run into some refurbishment stuff. So there's always some changes that happen during slower seasons, but maybe not much we spoke about this in our last episode about Disneyland. So it might not have as big of an impact at the Walt Disney World Resort just because there's so much more to do there.
Right.
It does have a big impact at Disneyland.
So let's talk about different ticket types.
So there's a lot of ticket options, base tickets, park hopper tickets. We got park hopper plus tickets. We've got park hopper plus with water park and sports option. Are those all the tickets? Like,
yeah, I think so.
really spit them all out. Anyways, the two main tickets that you probably are considering when you're planning your vacation is either are you going to get a base ticket, which is are you going to visit one park per day, or are you going to upgrade to a park hopper ticket, which means that you can go to multiple parks per day.
Or all four in one day, if
right.
you so choose.
If you so choose. It can be done. However, it's a bit limiting right now at Disney World because you can't park hop until after 2 p.m.
Right. That's quite a big window of time that you have to just stay in one park if you want to park hop.
Our last trip, we were at Hollywood Studios, and at 12 o'clock, we're like, hey, we're done with Hollywood Studios, but like, what now? Right? So you can't hop to another park until 2 o'clock. So, even if you want to. Hopefully that changes in the near future, but they're still very strict on their 2 p.m. park hopping rule.
So I feel like that really plays into our strategy, though, of kind of having a midday break, letting the kids rewind, relax a little bit, enjoying the pool. So, if you are done with Hollywood Studios at noon, but you can't park hop till 2, head back to the hotel for a little bit, get some pool time in, go relax, and then you can go to whatever park you want after that, which I think is a great strategy to kind of pace yourself throughout a long Disney World trip.
I agree. Another great thing to do sort of as a midday break is Disney World has so many different resort options that you can just hop on a mode of transportation and go and visit the resorts. This is like really cool, especially during the holiday time, because there's like special gingerbread houses that are made at some of the deluxe resorts. There's Christmas trees that have different themes. So, and a bunch of different places to eat. So that's a really
and that's
good,
my reason to go to
midday. Yeah,
I want to go check out all the eats.
Right? All of the eats. Impossible at Disney World. It's impossible to do all the things, eat all the things.
I recently saw a video of somebody who did every ride at Disney World in one day. It was impressive. But I was just thinking, I was like, there's no way you could do every food, even in one trip. Even if you're there for a week, it'd be impossible.
I mean, you could probably have a bite.
But challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. I'm going to wait for the report on that one.
Yep.
Okay, so we have base tickets, we have park hopper tickets, and we want to add those water parks in. We got park hopper plus water park ticket option. Now those tickets are pretty like a pretty good value, because not only do you get that day, like say you have 5-day tickets, not only do you get 5 days of theme parks, you get the 5 days of water parks as well. So if you have like a 10-day vacation, your use of your water park ticket doesn't dip into your use of your theme park ticket. So it's basically like a 10-day ticket package for the price of 5.
Yeah, that's a great option, especially for days that you kind of want to just take a relaxing day and not overdo it for 10 straight days, because that would be just way too much in the parks. No way to survive that. But to go to the water parks and go play there and enjoy yourself, that's a great way to kind of maximize and fill out your vacation.
Yeah, definitely. So put your head in the mindset of a first timer. What tickets should they be getting? How long? How many tickets? How many days at the park should they spend? What kind of tickets should they get?
Yeah, I mean, you could easily do, like you said, 10 days at Disney World. Maybe not 10 park days, but, a 10-day trip is not unheard of, or out of the question. Um, really, if you really want to maximize or enjoy yourself and enjoy as much as possible at Disney World, I'd say 6 days probably minimum, 5 to 6 days at least, and somewhere up to that 8, 9, 10 day mark at the top out.
Now, are you saying first timers should be doing park hopper tickets? What is your thoughts on that?
I mean, maybe I'm wrong in this, but I don't think park hopper is that much more of an added cost. That I think it keeps your options open. I think it allows you to really maximize your time. So I always recommend park hopper, especially with comes to Genie Plus, which we'll talk about in a minute. That really helps, I think, kind of maximize your Genie Plus options as well.
Definitely. My kind of view for first timers is I usually recommend base tickets, because like we talked about this in our Disneyland episode, Disneyland's so close together, you can just, hop, skip, and jump to the other park. Whereas at Disney World, you got to get on a bus or a monorail or a Skyliner. You got to get on a mode of transportation to get to the next park. And, it could take up to an hour of your time just getting to the next park. And I usually recommend to first timers to get those base tickets just to enjoy one park to its full potential, to give it a whole day chance before leaving. Other than, like, I always recommend a midday break. So do that midday break and going back to the same park so you can catch the nighttime shows and everything. Do those things that you enjoyed doing in the morning maybe again. The parks are big enough to enjoy one full day there, with the exception of Animal Kingdom, because one, there's maybe not as much to do as there are in the other parks, and it does close a lot earlier.
No, I think that's a great idea as well. I think you can't go wrong either way. But yeah, I think probably for first timers, you're probably right to just really kind of slow it down a little bit and really enjoy yourself in one park a day. I think that's a great plan.
Yeah, don't give yourself too much pressure.
For sure.
Like it's time to park hop.
Timer's going off. Let's move, kids. Yep.
Yeah, so maximizing those tickets and your time in the park, we want to talk about adding Genie Plus to those tickets. And I kind of fumbled on my words there because we were just talking about Disneyland in our last episode, and you can add Disney Genie Plus to your Disneyland tickets in advance, but that's not the case for Walt Disney World. You have to make that decision day of.
But it is something you can do before you head off to the parks in the morning.
Yeah. So the way Genie Plus works at Disney World is if you want Genie Plus for your day, you can start by purchasing it. The earliest you can purchase it is midnight, and you're going to want to purchase it well before 7 a.m. So just in case any hiccups happen in your purchase, you're going to want to have that Genie Plus well before 7 a.m. And I know we like to compare Disneyland to Disney World. In Disneyland, you scan into the park. That's when you can make your first reservation. Well, that's not the case for Disney World. You can make your first reservation at 7 a.m. So that's really good. Usually we're like en route to a park while we have to make our Genie Plus reservation. So it's probably the same case for everybody else. But yeah, 7 a.m. you can
obviously you guys are a lot more gung-ho than I had to set my alarm to make sure I was up at 7 to make my first one. Like finally rolling out of bed. All right, I guess I'll head off to the parks.
Yeah, so Genie Plus changed a little bit just recently. So you can now, like beforehand, you could purchase Genie Plus and it would give you access to all the attractions available for park hopping. So now it changed that, especially highlights the benefit for those base ticket holders. You can purchase just one park. So if you had a base ticket for Magic Kingdom, then you only have to purchase the Magic Kingdom Genie Plus for the day. There's also still the multi-park option that you can purchase, but if you have those base tickets, you don't have to worry about that. You just purchase your park for the day. It saves you a little bit of money.
Yeah, I do think that's a really nice feature that they added on. So it is either one park or all parks, right? You're not going to just get like
That's right.
just Magic Kingdom and Epcot. If you're going to do more than one, you're going to get all of them.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably purchase
They would
each
like you to, I'm
individually, but
sure.
it's gonna
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna cost you a lot more money to do it that way. But yeah, I guess you could cherry pick which parks you want to do, but it's gonna cost you more than that multi-park ticket. I believe the multi-park ticket was $27 the other day when I checked, and Magic Kingdom was like $24.
I think I even saw one where Magic Kingdom was the same price as the multi-day or the all park. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Magic Kingdom is like when people are asking me, I'm limited on resources. I want to use Genie Plus at one of my park days. Which is the best park day to use it at? I would say Magic Kingdom 100%. There's just more rides. You get more value out of your Genie Plus at the Magic Kingdom. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if you were going to pick one, that is definitely the one to do it at. Some of the parks, Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom are fun, but they don't have a ton of rides. You're not going to get as much bang for your buck. And the pricing for it for an individual park is reflected in that.
Yeah, you can really see that. I think Animal Kingdom was like $14.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely a lot lower than it was at Magic Kingdom. So you definitely know that they see that park has a little bit more value than the others. And Hollywood Studios is a difficult one to use Genie Plus at because everything kind of goes so quickly.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to my favorite topic now, food. It's the only reason I go to Disney most of the time. I just want to go eat good food. What's the best thing?
I mean, you do have the challenge.
That's right.
Eat all the food in one day.
One trip.
One trip?
Yeah.
I think you could do a park in one day.
I don't even know
eat your way through Magic
I can
Kingdom.
put away a lot of food, but
eat your way through Magic Kingdom in one day. I got a great headline for you.
What's the best thing you've eaten at Disney World?
Ooh. That's so hard.
Or best few things. I know you can't narrow it down to just one.
Best snack, Animal Kingdom cheeseburger pods.
Those are good.
So good.
Yep.
Ooh, and speaking of cheeseburger, the cheeseburger egg rolls at Magic Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a elusive cart over in Adventureland, and it closes early, and they sell out fast. So if you're wanting to try a cheeseburger egg roll,
maybe you get a late breakfast. Yeah, it's time to get it.
Or breakfast.
Or for breakfast. Why not?
Nobody's judging you.
I think for me...
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I have a couple. Both in Epcot are my two favorites. Number one is the crepes. The crepes are amazing. The creperie
like the new one by Remy?
Yep.
Is it called La Creperie?
Yeah.
Is it?
La Creperie, yeah.
Ooh,
it's like a year of high school French.
I just snorted. Good job.
I think the crepes are amazing. And then for sit down, the best steak I've ever had. I'm going to botch this again. Apparently I like all my French food. French names.
Le Cellier. Oh, you had it.
All right. The filet mignon there was best steak I've ever had.
Oh, Canada.
And paying tribute to my friends in the Great White North there.
Sit down restaurant. There's so many good options. I think some of the best options are outside of the parks. Disney Springs.
We could do a whole episode on just Disney Springs, and probably will. It's huge.
Possibly. Well,
it's almost like a whole extra park.
It is. Just don't go there during the heat of the day.
No.
Not fun. We could do a whole episode on dining as well.
And will.
And well.
What did you have at Disney Springs that was good?
I'm only thinking quick service right now. Deluxe burger, really good. The chicken guy, great, solid. There's a few. Yeah, there's just so many things to choose from. I mean,
you're not going to go hungry.
You're not going to go hungry. My favorite thing to do at Disney World is like the Epcot Festival booths.
Yep.
I love like trying a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of little tastes. Yep.
Okay, so if we're doing a comparison but not comparison, I feel like Disneyland, hits it out of the park with food, and Disney World is just like a bit meh.
I agree. I mean, you're going to find good food at Disney World. It's maybe not quite as, I don't want to use the word adventurous, but it's a lot more just kind of your standard American fare at Disney World. Just
basic
hamburgers, pizza.
Not a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
If you order something spicy at Disneyland, it's going to be spicy. But if you order something spicy at Disney World, it's not going to be spicy.
I think that's a perfect way to sum that up. Yep.
I mean, they're being very careful with their flavors.
Yeah, which is fine.
Is my view on it. But that being said, a lot of these dining locations are booking up well in advance. 60 days. Most of them you have to get on there bright and early to make your reservations.
Yeah. And especially for the character dining at Disney World. I feel like that's a much more, not that it's not important at Disneyland or well used, but I feel like Disney World, it's a much bigger thing, especially at like Be Our Guest or places like that.
Yeah, Cinderella's Royal Table is a big one. Chef Mickey's at the Contemporary. Topolino's, my absolute favorite character breakfast. So good. So now, thinking back to one of my favorite things at Disney World to eat, it's in there. Topolino's, that character breakfast, that food is so delicious. Which is probably why it is something that gets booked up really quickly.
What'd you have that was great?
I think they're called sour cream French. I think it's sour cream French toast.
Okay.
Something like that.
That does sound good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll enjoy that when I'm eating my, stop at every restaurant in Disney World.
Enjoy. Good luck getting all those reservations. And Chef Mickey's, they have these like cheesy potatoes for breakfast. That's my favorite thing. I mean, like most of the breakfast was pretty basic, but those potatoes were the highlight.
If you do want exotic food, we'll say, Boma at Animal Kingdom Lodge is a great option. They have a great breakfast buffet there that has your standard American or North American. I won't single out single you out of America here, but it has your standard pancakes and Mickey waffles and everything, but then also some African flavors inspired dishes that are really, really good. It's a great place for a breakfast.
Yeah, speaking of Animal Kingdom Lodge, they also have Sanaa there at Kidani Village with an incredible bread service. And yeah, if you're looking for flavor, that's where you'll find it. So it's funny because we're like, oh, Animal Kingdom Lodge is like, meh. Yeah. It's like so far away, and like, and both of the restaurants there, they're actually really good. So, I mean, a highlight if you want to stay just like resort style and eat there and hang out at the pool. It's a really nice resort. It's just a little bit further for us park goers.
But it's not significant. I think we might have made a little too big of a deal on that. It's so really dramatic. Not too bad. Yeah. Don't go to Animal Kingdom. It's like 10 miles away. It's
so far. Oh, so yeah. Well, speaking of dining, I guess like we could quickly talk about the dining plan that's coming back in 2024.
Finally.
Finally, yeah. I actually just did like a comparison of how much the dining plan costs versus like how much it would cost for you to do it in the park, and like as you pay out of pocket. And I mean, it's not a lot of savings. So to get like the benefit out of the dining plan, you kind of have to make sure you're getting the most valued item on the menu when you're using it. But to kind of break down the dining plan options, there's two. So there's like a quick service option. It's got two quick service credits and one snack credit per day. And then we have the Disney dining plan, which gives you one table service credit, one quick service credit, and one snack per day. So that is equivalent to a whole meal. So it'll get you your food, your side of fries, and your drink. What's really cool about the quick service plan is, well, both the plans actually, if you're over 21 and you enjoy alcohol, you can switch out your drink for an alcoholic beverage. So that'll help jack up the value
Get your money's worth there.
dining plan. Yeah. But I really like using the dining plan just because it's like done for, it's paid in advance. All you have to do is worry about like your credits. So, and you don't have to use your credits as they're issued per day. You can use them as you please. So if you only use one this day, you can use a couple the next day. So you can just use them as you please.
So if I'm doing my eating everything in a day, you just buy it for the whole trip, but then just use everything in the first day.
You can absolutely do that.
And then walk it off the rest of the trip.
I mean, you're walking during it.
You gotta walk in between locations. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Somebody might have to wheel you out with an appetite.
Well, that's never a problem.
Yeah, so dining plan. Is it a money saver? Not really. Is it, it gives you like the all-inclusive sort of feel of a vacation.
Sure.
But, is it going to save you money in the end? Probably not.
But I think, like you said, there's so many more logistical things to think about at Disney World that sometimes just having that already taken care of and you can just grab some food and go because it's already paid for. I think that does kind of help take a little bit of the pressure off planning a whole Disney trip.
I agree. And, what the dining plan coming back means is that means there's potential for a free dining offer in the future. Like, don't hold me to it. But it's been a few years 3 years since we've had the dining plan. So maybe let's give it some time.
And anytime you can combine Disney and free, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen very often. We love Disney, but you pay for it.
Yes, you definitely do.
And it's worth every penny. But you pay for it.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's magical.
It is.
Okay, so we dabbled into Genie Plus. Why don't we talk about how you sort of plan your itinerary for the day? Like, what's a realistic schedule at Disney World? And I mean, there's so many different places to start. So let's start, with our classic Magic Kingdom. How to set up a realistic schedule for your Magic Kingdom day. I know you're sleeping in.
Yeah. I'm not getting up till like 8 or 9. Letting the crowds thin out in the afternoon there. Especially if you're rope dropping, probably heading into, I like to head straight to Tomorrowland. That's where I usually go that way. Younger kids, you're going to want to hit up Fantasyland and all those great rides in there. And then just kind of working your way around the park. Really, it's, using that app and finding where the lower wait times are and kind of seeing if you can group some rides together that are low wait times together in the same area. I think that's really the best way, is to kind of just be a little flexible, but kind of have an idea of what you want to do throughout the day and what your top priorities are.
Yeah, I agree. I usually try to decide what the top priority is for the day. Like, what's the first thing we want to do? What's the first Genie Plus reservation we want? Kind of have that figured out before we even sort of get into the park, and you're going to see the lower wait times in the morning. So trying to get there early. I mean, even beating the crowd because, well, there's a lot more people at Disney World that get early morning access than there is at Disneyland. Not like we're doing a comparison video or anything, but
we're just saying go to
is.
both so you can experience everything.
That's right. But you do want to take advantage of that early morning because even with the early morning entry, there's still a huge crowd of people that gathers for, park opening rope drop.
Yep.
So
the one nice thing I do like about Disney World is they have more of the late night offerings for the extended hours for the deluxe guests. And you can really get a lot done if you're a night owl like me and not getting up till 8 or 9.
That is true. However, if you're a foodie, there's like no snacks or drinks available for the evening hours.
But if you've been eating all day, like me, you'll be fine.
You would think they would leave the snacks open. But no snacks.
They don't even have the good churros.
Also, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to which park it's at.
Right. And that's all in the app, fortunately. It's, they do a good job with their apps, surprisingly. Their website's not so much, but the apps, they do a good job with that. All the information you need is right there. So it's easy to find.
They do. The app is a little bit of a beast to get to learn and navigate around. It's usually something that I do like a training with my clients before they go out into the, real world, before I set them free. I teach them how to use the app because, that could really hold you up if you're like, I want to get a Genie Plus, but how do I do this?
Yeah, definitely taking some time before your trip and just playing around on the app, getting familiar with it that can really make a huge difference on how successful your trip is at the end. Yes,
100%. Learn the app. It's the biggest takeaway. If you take away anything,
my number one
this
tip
episode, my number one tip. So planning your day at the parks. I mean, planning in advance the things that you want to do, make them a priority, doing those things early in the morning with low wait times. And while you're doing that, make sure you're getting your Genie Plus reservations if you're utilizing that for the afternoon and start sort of stacking them, which means that, every 2 hours, you're going to be able to get a new Genie Plus reservation. So you just continue to fill up your afternoon, late afternoon, early evening with those Genie Plus times to make good use of your day.
Yeah, I think it is an added cost, but I really think Genie Plus is a fantastic way to really maximize your trip.
Definitely. And then there's those popular rides that are available for individual purchase. So those will be your individual lightning lanes, and there's a few more of them at Disney World than there is at Disneyland. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many, but I know at
greater than 3
Magic Kingdom,
yeah,
greater than 3 is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is still an individual lightning lane, and then we now have Tron. So there's 2 at Magic Kingdom. Over at Epcot, we have Cosmic Rewind. At Animal Kingdom, we have Flight of Passage. And Hollywood Studios, we have Rise of the Resistance. Now, correct me. I think he's fact-checking me right now.
Seeing how fast I can type here. Yeah, so Magic Kingdom, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and Tron. Epcot has just Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Hollywood Studios is Rise of the Resistance. And Animal Kingdom is Avatar. What'd you think of Avatar?
Do I win a prize?
Good job.
Thanks.
Oh, buy you a cookie when I go to Disney World. Yeah.
Yes.
What'd you think of Avatar? Do you like that ride?
Flight of Passage,
Flight
I
of
love
Passage.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely love it.
I thought it was so cool. By the end, though, I was like, it was just a little too long. I think I said earlier I didn't get too motion sick. That one actually got me towards the end.
Yeah, because you did say that the screens and 3D stuff kind of got you. Definitely, if you're, the motion bothers you with, like in relation to screens and 3D effects, then that one's gonna give you the heebie-jeebies.
It's really cool, though. It's a really cool ride, especially because it feels like you're sitting on, like you can feel I forget what they're called. Those, I haven't seen Avatar. I'm terrible, but
Banshees.
The Banshees, yeah, you can like feel it breathing, like it's like you're sitting on it. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it is so cool. And like you feel it's like Soarin' on steroids.
Yeah, that's exactly how I describe it. Yep.
So you're riding the Banshee and it like you're flying. You feel like you're flying. It's so cool. We do have a little Avatar fan in the house. My middle daughter, Kinley, she loves Avatar, and we went to the theaters to watch the new one, Way of the Water.
Yeah.
So she's hoping, that there might be a little refurb coming in the future to include, some of the scenes from the new movie. So I don't know,
that's one of the things I love about Disney is they do keep updating things. You think about like Splash Mountain now being transitioned into the Tiana Bayou Adventure. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did end up updating Avatar as well.
Yeah, I see it in their future.
We'll will it into existence. Make it happen.
We'll will it into. I'm putting it in the universe, and hopefully Disney will hear me.
Or see this. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes. Yeah.
They get all their best ideas from, just random people on podcast episodes.
I'm sure that's exactly how it happens. Yep.
Right? Speaking of, Avatar and that land, Pandora, probably the biggest highlight of going to Animal Kingdom is going there. Different experience in the daytime versus at nighttime because they have all those luminescent lights like in the ground, in the shrubbery.
It really does feel like you're walking through Pandora. It's really cool.
It does. It's really cool. And a little tip I always like tell my guests before they go visit is to get like some glow in the dark paint for your kids.
Smart.
Do like black lights and put a little bit of paint on the kids and they can glow in Pandora.
Get the war paint on the face. Yeah.
War paint, yeah. So what's your favorite ride in each park? Let's start Magic Kingdom.
All right, Magic Kingdom. I really like Seven Dwarfs. Like I said, I didn't get on Tron yet, so it probably would be Tron. But I really like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I thought that was a lot of fun. Epcot was, I know a lot of people don't like it. Mission Space, I thought was, yep. I know there's throw up bags in front of you for a reason, but
I just hate going on rides with throw up bags. It just like,
it made me really concerned the first time I sat down. I'm like, why is there a bag right in front of me? But I really enjoyed that.
The whole queue says, there's a bag for you if you need to throw up. I just hate that. My family went on that ride without me after we went on Cosmic Rewind. And I was like, you guys are crazy. I am not doing
I don't know if I do them back to back. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was right next to each other, waiting at the exit of that ride and like seeing all the people just leaned over holding their heads. Like, I don't know what's pleasant about that experience, but yeah, here's your warning.
Yeah,
but you liked it.
But I liked it. Avatar made me sick, but not that ride, so go figure.
It's more of like a pressure sort of thing, right? Like,
so it's really just like a gravitational, like it's just spinning you in circles really fast. So yeah,
it's like the old school Gravitron at like.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah,
yep. Is it like where you stick to the wall?
Yep. But it feels like you're blasting off into space. It's like you're literally flying to Mars. It feels amazing. We'll pull it back a little bit. In Hollywood Studios, my favorite is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. In Animal Kingdom, I think I'd have to go Either Avatar, I mean, like I said, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Or Expedition Everest. That one's pretty amazing.
That's a good one too. I hear a lot of feedback that people get queasy on that one too because it, I don't, spoiler alert, it sends you backwards.
Not that far.
Not that far.
What about you? What are your favorites in each park?
Ooh, Magic Kingdom. I'm going with classic Big Thunder Mountain.
I do love that one.
That's a good one. I do like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but I think Thunder Mountain is a little bit better for me. Where did we go next? We went to Epcot next. I gotta say Cosmic Rewind.
Yeah.
I can't believe Mission Space beat Cosmic Rewind for you, but to each their
I'm
own.
rethinking my life choices right now.
I mean, like, I'm not sure if we can be friends anymore.
So this podcast lasted all of 2 episodes.
2 episodes, and we're friends off. At Hollywood Studios, like I said, it's a really hard one because, like, there's Slinky Dog, there's Mickey and Minnie's, Rock and Roller Coaster, Rise of the Resistance, but, like, Rise of the Resistance is the one for me there.
That's a fantastic ride. I really love that one. Yeah.
So immersive. Like, it's a whole story.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Especially if you're a Star Wars fan, you feel like you're on a Star Destroyer and there's stormtroopers there. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself 100% Star Wars fan. I do like Star Wars movies, but so even for the non-hardcore Star Wars fan, it's still a great ride. And then at Animal Kingdom, it's Flight of Passage for me.
Can't go wrong.
And
It's a great list.
Expedition Everest is a close second. It's my son's favorite ride.
There you go. So you end up doing it a lot, I'm sure. All right. So this episode, we talked about everything you'd ever need to know about Disney World. At least gave a good high-level overview of a lot of things to consider. If you had your one tip for Disney World, or one final tip at least, what would you say?
Ooh, I'm going back to the app. Learn the app. Download the My Disney Experience app and practice using it. Look through the maps, watch some YouTube videos, learn how to use the My Disney Experience app, and you're going to have a way better experience once you're in destination.
Yep. That's a great tip. For the Disneyland one, I talked about kind of slowing down and enjoying the magic a little bit and, finding all the areas that aren't necessarily rides to really enjoy the trip. This time, I think I'm going to go a different direction, and it's kind of a weird one, I guess, but almost go into your trip with a mission statement or goal for your trip. What do you want to accomplish by the end of your trip, and what's important to you, and really use that as kind of the deciding factor when you're going throughout your trip of, is it hitting on all the rides? Is it eating all the food? Maybe that's going to be my mission statement for my next Disney World trip. But, having something like that where it can really kind of guide you, or if it's just spending more quality time with your family, whatever it is, I think that's probably my best tip for Disney World.
I really like that. I'm going to go into every trip with a mission statement now. Amazing. Yes, heading into my next vacation with a mission statement. My mission for our next trip is to ride Tron.
Yes.
And that is basically the only goal. So I'm going to have a great vacation because I'm sure we're going to hit that goal. But yeah, those are our tips. And in future episodes, we're going to dive deep into all of these topics and give you more information on, different resorts, different dining options, everything you need to know about planning your Disney vacations, both Disney World and Disneyland. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah, so your mission is to subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials, and stay tuned for all things Disney vacation planning. All right, we'll see you real soon.
Bye, guys.